Hello, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be creating a powder foundation makeup tutorial, which is this look that you see right here. If you would like to see my powder foundation makeup tutorial, then go ahead and keep watching. So I'm just going to start by applying this e.l.f. matte putty primer. And you don't have to apply a matte primer. It can be luminous, it can be whatever kind of primer, but almost every time I'm doing a powder foundation routine, I will apply like some kind of primer underneath just to give it like a little bit more something to stick to and a little more something that maybe it won't come out like cakey or very powdery. Could even use like a setting spray or a prep spray before if you want to. A lot of times I'll use a setting spray afterwards. So then I'm gonna go ahead and move in with my foundation. The powder foundation I chose is going to be the Makeup Revolution. This is the Conceal and Define, and mine is in P6. This is the Satin Matte Powder Foundation with hyaluronic acid and cannabis sativa. And so I'm just going to take this e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I really do prefer a very like small, dense type brush to apply powder foundation. I find it works a lot better, and I literally just kind of like tap it in there, get it on there, and then I just start working it in like circles, and almost immediately you'll be able to see it applying. So, and I'll just keep doing this until I actually get the coverage that I want. This foundation is buildable. I'm not going to say that any powder foundation is 100% full coverage because obviously they are not, but it is buildable, so you can get a little bit more coverage if you wanted to. I just don't like building it too much because then it will start looking powdery sometimes, but a lot of times you can correct it after you use like a setting spray. It can help with the powderiness, and it would look a lot less. When I apply it to my nose, I usually kind of like tap it in like this instead of going in circles all around my nose, so it gets in all the little like cracks and stuff, because I feel like otherwise it just doesn't, like if you try to go in circles it just doesn't like apply 100% proper. So yeah, up on the forehead, and literally that is what I do. Very fast and easy. I love doing powder foundations almost daily because they're so quick and easy, and you, like I said, you can build the coverage. So literally that's what I do. And it's hard when you're using a powder foundation. You can't go in with like a full coverage concealer, so you have to be careful what concealer you actually choose, otherwise it's going to be like real noticeable. So I chose to use the Neutrogena the HydroBoost Hyaluronic Acid concealer just because I feel like it's a little bit lighter and it's not like full coverage, so you can really blend it in with the powder foundation and it's not going to be super obvious. And I'm just going to use a little blender, eye blender, like a mini blender, to apply that. And I just like dab it on. I don't literally rub it. I just kind of like tap it in. And then I'll just pounce it in with this little mini blender. Oh, this is the Real Techniques mini blender. So I will literally just bring it all the way down and over the corner, my whole eyelid area. And I like how this powder foundation it's vegan and it's cruelty free. And I like the fact that it has hyaluronic acid in it. so that it doesn't like dry you out. Helps with hydration and stuff. And then I love how this concealer also has hyaluronic acid. That way you don't look like dry and powdery and cakey. Like, it helps with hydration. Okay, and that's literally what I'll do. And then I usually will take like CoverGirl. This is the clean press powder, and I will just use this to set my under eye. I like to use this because it is not powdery. It's very fine and very easy to use, and it doesn't cake up or look powdery. So yes, this is what I will use. Just dip it in. I usually use this e.l.f. I'm not even sure. I think this is some kind of concealer brush. I'm not even sure what it's called. It has no name, but I love this brush for setting my under eyes. So as you can see, you can barely tell like the transition from my concealer to like the powder foundation. It blends very well. It doesn't look like too obvious, like, oh my goodness. And as you can see, the powder foundation is not looking powdery or cakey on me right now. It looks pretty even and everything. And so now I'm just gonna go in with e.l.f. This is their Forever Sunkissed. I think this is the bronzer that has primer in it, I believe. Of course it doesn't say that on the back, but I believe this is the one. And I'm just going to use this Eco Tools. This is the blending and bronzing brush. I have been loving this for bronzing lately. And so yeah, I'm just going to tap it in lightly and bronze up my cheeks. And I will also bronze up my forehead. And you would think that using like powder on powder, powder foundation on powder like products is gonna make it look powdery, but the products that I'm combining right now, I've never had that issue with. I usually do not even have that issue. I usually almost always use a powder bronzer, and on a daily makeup routine I do use powder foundation, and I usually do not have a problem with that at all. Okay, I think we're nice and bronzed. So now I'm just going to apply some blush, and I'm going to be using this I Heart Revolution Peach and Glow palette. I'm just going to be using the actual blush in this, not the highlighter. This is the highlighter, this is the blush. So I'm just going to use the blush, and I'm going to take this Wet n Wild angled blush brush, and I'm just going to apply this to my cheeks. It's very pretty and subtle. Do not need too much, just a couple taps, and it's perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply highlighter, and I'm going to go in with this Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in Precious Petals. This is my absolute favorite from the drugstore. It's super dramatic, but it can also be subtle, depends on how much you apply. I tend to go heavy-handed with my highlighter, especially this one. But you can apply as much as you want, and as you can tell, it's not looking powdery or cakey on top of all the powder products I just applied. A little bit to my nose, so yep, a little bit here. Alright, so I think that's pretty much it for my face products. I'm basically now just going to go in and do my eyebrows, and I will be right back. I'm going to do that off camera. I don't know if anybody wants to watch me do my eyebrows, but I will be right back. Okay, so I am back and I have applied my eyebrows. I use the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil in Natural Brown. And now I'm going to go ahead and apply my eyeshadow. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette in Rose Water. And I'm just going to take this like matte shade right here. And I'm going to take this, what is this, a Wet n Wild blending eyeshadow brush. And I'm just going to take that into my crease and above, like kind of like transition. It's not going to be like a super complicated eyeshadow look or anything, just something quick and easy but pretty. I'm not being precise. I'm even going a little bit down on my eyelid. Just blending that in. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now I'm just going to take another Wet n Wild, I think this is a large eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to take this shimmer shade right here, the first one in the palette, and just going to like tap it in there and apply this to my eyelid area. Just going to like go in the crease like this and move it back and forth so that it will apply to my eyelid. Quick and super easy and precise because you're carving out a crease, so it really just applies to the area you want it to apply to. Just like so. Then I'm going to take this Wet n Wild concealer brush and I'm going to take the highlighter that we used and just apply that to my brow bone and my inner corners. Just like that. And the eyeliner I'm going to use is going to be, this is a Rimmel one, I can't remember what it's called. It's just Rimmel, but it's in the shade 005 Nude. Mine is almost gone. I need to get a new one here. But just gonna apply this to my lower lash line just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Same thing to the other side. Okay, and then for lips today, I am going to be applying this e.l.f. Retro Paradise lip liner. This one came in the lip kit, and this one I believe is 03 Nude. This is the kind of like pinky nude that's in that palette, or kit, sorry, not palette. Just gonna apply this. And then the lipstick I'm going to be using today is by Milani, and it is 61 Matte Naked. And it's just a really matte, like pinky nude. I love this shade for like an everyday type look. It's very pretty and simple, and it pretty much goes with almost any makeup look. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my mascara. I'm going to do that off camera. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise, and I will be right back. Okay, so I am back. I have finished applying my mascara, and the last thing I'm going to do is apply some Milani Make It Last setting spray. And this really does help powder foundation. If you feel like it's looking cakey or anything like that, you can go ahead and use a setting spray, and it usually will make it look 100% better. And do you see how it just like made my highlight like pop even more? It's like super glowy and everything. I love that. And this same routine you can use with any powder foundation. There's so many brands that has powder foundation from the drugstore. Even high-end brands have powder foundation. So just choose whatever foundation you want and basically just apply it until you feel you have the coverage you need. Like I said, use a primer or a setting prep spray first. Make sure you do your skincare. And powder foundation always looks, for me, flawless and super quick and easy. I love powder foundation makeup routines, because when I'm in a hurry or on an everyday, I don't have time to sit here and spend 30 minutes, an hour on my makeup. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me creating this powder foundation makeup tutorial. So if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe before leaving, and I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Bye!